Welcome to the Ref Room, hockey talk for referees, coaches, players, and fans.
Broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
With your hosts, Smokin, Silz, and Baumruck.
Live.
The Ref Room starts right now.
And now your host.
Oh, yeah, it is Wednesday, everybody. Peanut butter and jelly sandwich Wednesday for Baumruck. Hope you guys are doing well. Been working lots of games and having a good week. Enjoying this weather that still continues to be pretty nice here, man. I gotta say, this has been a nice September, October for all you guys that are still playing golf.
It's gorgeous outside. I was just outside right before this. And I expected it to be chilly out when I looked outside because it's kind of overcast where I'm at here in Chicago. It's gorgeous out. It's warm.
I got this light little sweatshirt on, man, and I was frying when I was out there with Frankie earlier. You know, Frankie and I take our long walk in the morning. So anyway, we already got questions coming in, comments coming in here. So we are going to talk today about different officiating systems: the 2-man, the 3-man, the 4-man. We've got a couple poll questions that we are going to ask.
Scott, it's the 2 official, the 3 official, and the 4 official systems.
2-man, woman.
It's the 2 official system.
2 official system.
3 official
I'm being
system.
Politically correct now.
4 official system.
I couldn't fit that on the thumbnail, so I had to say 2-man, 3-man, 4-man.
Everybody still says it that way
anyways.
Still,
it's man, woman. It's still man, right?
Technically
it's an official system.
It was renamed, and I'm not putting anyone down. I'm just going by what the rule book says.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to get into all those today, but I'm actually going to throw you a curveball because I think if we're going to kick this off, let's kick it off with the 1 official system.
Okay.
Because we are seeing a lot of that, and I think we should talk about what needs to be done, what your responsibilities are if you're having to work a 1-man game versus a 2 or 3-man, and what your liability or risks are that are involved with that. Can you?
All right. So number 1, the liability and risks, I'm going to leave alone.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'll keep that out of there. But USA Hockey, it's 501 Part D, I believe, is the rule number. It explains on what you can do if the assigned officials or there aren't officials that are able to be found for any reason. It states, and it tells you what you can do. Now, from an officiating standpoint, if you're working, probably, like a Pee-wee house game or lower, or, Pee-wee game or whatever you're comfortable with. Let's put it that way. More than likely, you could probably be okay doing the game by yourself. But here's how what you're supposed to do. Is if you're the only official there, what you're supposed to do is try and find somebody in the rink with some sort of officiating experience first. So, that means it could be an assistant coach. It could be a player from one of the 2 teams. It could be a parent. It could be the attendant at the snack bar. Try and find somebody that has officiating experience to fill that gap. Because, A, you should have an extra whistle, at least one. And if you don't, I would go invest in one.
Get one.
Number 2 is you could use them just to have them out on the ice to break things up. So, but that's the first thing you do. You try to find somebody with some officiating experience, and you'll probably referee with them as an equal at that point because they have the officiating experience. Hopefully, they've been to more than one seminar, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but okay.
Yeah, I got you. But so try to find somebody with some officiating experience. If you can't find anybody with any officiating experience, you got a couple options that you can do. So you can referee the game solo yourself, if you're comfortable, of course, and you can get through it. Or what you could do is, in my suggestion, I'm just putting this out there, if I was working like an upper level game and I was by myself, those teams have 2 backup goaltenders. Those guys aren't getting any playing time anyways that day, maybe. Have them line for you, so they take a blue line. If they're offsides, they put their arm up. They can't shut play down because they don't have a whistle. So you're the one that's tasked with shutting play down for any penalties, any offsides. So you have the ultimate say, but now you have two players out on the ice. Yes, they're players. We all understand that. But you task the home team and the visiting team, okay, if an altercation happens, and then you go, a fight, okay, whatever people deem a fight. Home team, you're going to get your guy. Visiting team, you're going to get your guy. That's how it works. It avoids all situations. It helps you maintain your presence on the ice. And I know that doesn't sound like a big thing, but officiating presence stops a lot of altercations from happening.
And even using your whistle and getting in somebody's face, and like, does the whistle work? I mean, sometimes a few toots on that whistle will get their attention.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that do that really well. You make a great point.
Like, you know, the home team grabs their own player, the visitor grabs their own player, and you are like the referee at that point. So you got to be taking numbers, and you know, you're doing your best to make sure everything gets broken up as quickly as possible. But you still have a responsibility as a referee at that point to, you know, find out who you're going to have to assess penalties to.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult, and I know why you're bringing it up because. You know, the shortage is affecting us here. It's affecting people around the country.
It is.
It's something that I think a lot of officials, especially officials that are aging in years, or guys that work a full-time job and they have kids and they've always done it since they were a kid. I've noticed a couple guys. They're like, well, you know, we made it through. Like, I don't need to go in and get yelled at and, you know, possibly assaulted and have things thrown at me and, you know, run from rink to rink to rink and waste my Saturday, Friday, and Sunday. So more guys are looking at, like, options of, well, you know, I was home, like, and we made it. Like, the money wasn't the big hook for them at that point. So now they're kind of like, ugh. So it's difficult. We got it coming from a bunch of angles because you got that, and then, you know, a lot of people. I still think there's some people that aren't comfortable with returning back to the ice rinks because, you know, I would say player numbers are down as well in some areas, but that could just also be the economy's hurt, and we got all these things that are going on, and it's affecting all of us. So the shortage is real, and we're feeling it right now. And, you know, bad thing to reference Chicago is, you know, we're going to have CCM coming up here in, 15 days?
Yeah.
Something like that? Okay, so...
Buckle up your seatbelts.
There'll be...
Make your reservation at the hospital now.
There'll be, I think I heard the number is 1,284 games this year. Played from Thursday night. The opening ceremonies are Thursday night, and I think they play like 4 games or 5 games that night, something like that.
Yeah, it's all Friday, Saturday, and then, you know.
And then the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then when I get home at about 3:30 on Sunday afternoon,
and you can start thinking about all the high school games.
I'll call you. Okay, here's what'll happen. I'll call you, and I'll go, Scott. I need a back rub. Can you come over? It's gonna be one of the hardest seasons for us to get through. And, you know, I said this to a couple teams that are in the area that are local. If you're gonna play the second weekend of November, so AKA the weekend after CCM,
wait.
you might want to schedule those during the week.
Might want to put a couple whistles in the bags too. By the way,
yeah, it's going to be because I know quite a few officials that have been doing this for a lot of years because I have 6 Friday, 6 Saturday, and I think 4 on Sunday.
Yeah, I've got 5, 5, and 2 right now, but that doesn't count whatever I have after CCM. So
yeah, if you pick up a high school CCM, game or something,
I got 5, 5. I got to look at my schedule. I honestly don't know. And I probably will. I mean, you know, normally I work 6. I've worked 7 a day at CCM. So I'm only working 5 a day. 5, 5, and 2.
It's a lot.
So, you know, it's still a lot of skating.
And those boys are moving.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, they're there to win. They're there to do everything.
Yep.
So there's a couple of comments that are good.
Let's go through some comments because we are going to touch on all the systems today, guys. But there are a lot of things coming in, and I do want to get to this. So I'm going to jump. I see our referee in chief chimed in, and this is a point I was going to make as well. So,
yep. I was going to make that too.
Have a coach on each bench. So this is a one-man system. If you're doing a one official system, have a coach on each bench, stand inside the bench and on the blue line and act as your linesman, so they could throw a hand up in the air if they feel it's offside. Guys, the blue lines are important at high-level games. The blue lines are important, but guess what? The goal line is important too. You got to get there.
Right.
So
I'll get to that in the two official system.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Once
let's
we
keep
get to
going.
there.
All right. So let's see. Mike Anderson joins us, legendary official. It says, "Be politically correct." Age 2. Yeah. Brad likes to pick on us old guys. He picks on us old guys. Yeah.
Mike's not that old, so you know.
Yeah, I know. He's still kind of a youngster. All right. Anyway, appreciate what you do out there, Mike, on the ice and off the ice.
Yeah, CPD.
Yeah.
Represent.
Yep. Yeah. Been interesting. I know, we're a national show, but, in Chicago, there's been a lot going on with CPD and our mayor. So it's been kind of entertaining, and it continues. So we'll see what happens. All right, let's go back to Carl here. He's got a couple things. So let's see what he's got. When a player is speeding along the boards with the puck, should I keep my position where the referee lane is and have the kid potentially run into me, or should I turn around facing the boards? Well, I don't think here's the thing, Carl. What I would tell you, if I understand what you're trying, maybe you're like in a linesman's position and you got somebody coming at you, try to keep your feet moving at all times. Even if this is something that I learned, and I learned it from a couple of our signers, believe it or not. I was watching them work a game, and they're kind of in my age group, and I'm like, I want to see how these guys do it. And I watched them. They just keep their feet moving. If you're a linesman and you're out at the blue line area, you can just keep skating circles, like in the back to keep those feet moving so that when play comes at you, your feet are moving. You're not starting from a stop position. When you're in a stop position, you're stationary. You cannot get out of there. You're going to get hit. You're going to get run over. But if you have your feet moving, now you can C-cut, you can cross over, you can do whatever you got to do to get back as far as you need to get back, or move forward or move out. That is one of the dangers of being a hockey referee or a linesman. And, that's the best suggestion I have. That's something that's worked for me and helped me, because I've been hit a few times on those boards. It's not fun, okay? These guys don't care that you're there.
You make a good point about keeping your feet moving and just keeping a little bit of momentum. And when they're moving, I know exactly what you're talking about. When they're moving,
it's just a little
they're not moving very fast. It's minimal effort with extreme benefit to the circumstance that you have going. Being flat-footed in our game, players coming down on you, trying to start backwards, is a nightmare. Watch the best.
Hang on. I got to change the frame for this because, okay, Brad.
Oh, God.
Go ahead. Tell him now, okay?
I don't know. I don't know about that. No, but being flat-footed, you're dead. Like, even if you watch the guys in the NHL, the top defensemen, every once in a while, they get caught flat-footed. And if you ever look at them, like, on the replay or whatever, you can see the look of horror that's in their face that this guy is about to blow by him.
Oh, yeah.
And then they try to transition to forwards. And when they transition forwards, that's where they end up normally probably taking a penalty because they reach out with the stick. That guy's going so fast. Here comes the stick,
exactly.
And
you can see that. These are things that you can anticipate as a referee. You know what's coming at that point. You know what to look for.
Yeah, when that guy turns like that,
yeah.
When he turns and he's flat-footed, look for him to go for a hook. So the big thing is the stick parallel with the ice. Okay, you have a possible hooking situation.
Yep.
Did the defenseman slide his bottom hand to his top hand? Because you can't play hockey like this.
Because he's going to give him the whack. Because
and he's going to whack him.
Slow him.
It's kind of interesting that we got into that.
He's going to reach out to try to get a grab on him too. Just anything to spin him to just slow him down a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, the windmill, windmill chop onto the top of the foot. That's an interesting one.
So
but we've got
Carl's got a couple things here, so let's just keep going here real quick.
But never turn towards the boards.
Okay. So a couple things, Carl. One, you always want to be facing the puck as much as possible. You don't want to be flat, what we call flat backing to the boards. Like you see, I'm sitting in my chair, I'm flat backed. It is much harder to move from that position to get your body going. Whereas if you were turned on an angle facing the puck, you've got an escape route. You can get those feet going and get out of there.
Yeah,
It
Scott,
takes some work.
also, when you're standing flat back, from the tip of your head to your feet is one solid item.
Yeah.
Okay, so if that makes sense, go. If you don't know what I mean, go stand up against your wall, have your kid get a ball and try to throw a ball through you. Just doesn't happen. So, but if you're at 45 degrees, which that's what we do on the boards, you have options. So when you're flat backed, your only option is forward. Okay, you can go left and right, but if you go left and right, you're still a solid object. If you go forward, guess what? That's where the players are. I don't want to be out there. I don't think you want to be out there either. If you're at 45 degrees, you can pick your left foot up and let the puck by. You can pick your right foot up, pick the puck, let the puck go by. You can go to the left. You can bounce back. You can go up against the boards. You have all these options when you turn. Plus, not only that, it gives you a better sight line when you're doing it. And there's a saying that I'll let the veteran officials chime in for each other and tell them what it is. But always keep yourself facing towards the puck at a 45-degree angle.
Yeah, somebody want to put in the comments what we call it in our line of work?
Your buddy put it in there already, Mr. Facebook user.
It's already in there? Okay, I'll put it in here. And honestly, pee on the puck. Pretend you are peeing on the puck. If you're going to pee on the puck, you got to keep turning, you got to keep moving. And that's really important. It's good for your safety. We don't like to say peeing on the puck, but that's what it is, okay? That's the reality of it. That's a good way to remember what you're supposed to be doing out there. All right, a couple other things he asked about. Should the backup goalkeeper keep their equipment on while lining? And I think he's referring to leggings, pads, gloves, and blocker. So my answer would be yes, they should keep their pads on for sure, because they may be called in. You never know. They may have to. The goaltender could get injured, and they could have to go substitute for them.
That's right. And, Scott, I know the rule book has how the temporary goalkeepers work and how the backup goalkeeper is and changing of equipment and all that stuff and reasonable time, and it says this and that. And if you have to pull two goalkeepers to referee a game with you and the goalkeeper gets hurt, you're probably going to have enough common sense, I hope, to allow them to put their equipment back on and then restart that game.
But I wouldn't have the goalkeeper take his pads off, because now he's unprotected out there. He's got nothing. He's got no shin guards if defenseman, which he will learn the hard way that referees can get hit by pucks, and he's probably not as good as getting out of the way as we are, because we know what to look for. He's standing out there. He's used to blocking shots. He's got no equipment on. Some guy's going to fire the puck and hit him in the shin. Or the knee. I know they got a little knee pad there, but I would say let him keep the pads on. As far as the gloves go, if he's only raising his hand from a safety standpoint, if he keeps the gloves on, I got no problem with it. I could see the blocker go up in the air or the goalie glove go up in the air. And now he's got some protection on his hands, because he may get mangled on the boards by some players coming out of the zone. He's not going to be used to cutting out of there or know what we do. He's just kind of helping. So he's probably going to end up taking a couple shots along the boards during the course of a physical game.
I think here's my suggestion. Whatever that player is comfortable with, I think is what I'm going to roll with. And, you could have a goalkeeper that's there that is a referee. He's already a referee.
He just doesn't goalie referees.
Doesn't have his gear. And you know what? I'm going to tell you something, Scott. The goalies that come out and referee, those guys,
they make the best.
They have a natural ability with it, and I don't have the patience to do what they do. The goaltenders that they stand at one end of the ice and watch the game. Like, I couldn't do it. So I commend all the goalkeepers and give them a lot of respect for that, because that's not for me. 100%. I tried it once when I was a kid, and I'm like, this is horrible. Like, I was so bored. So there you go.
Karen says we should have more experienced, please. Yeah, she'd like to see, all the guys there participating that are actually officials versus new guys coming on, or players and coaches coming out to do it. Absolutely. Teddy says, if working solo and game starts to get out of hand, can you suspend the game under unsafe paying conditions? I think he means
unsafe.
Playing conditions.
No,
there is the underlying unsafe paying conditions
unsafe
rule. Yes, yeah, that's accurate too.
So in other words, Ted only accepts cash, cashier's checks, or Venmo. Okay,
bank transfer. He'll take a bank transfer.
He doesn't accept anything from Western Union.
Yep.
Okay.
He's got a cash app. He's got the cash app. He's got buy me a coffee. You can buy teddycoffee.com.
There you go. He's got it going. He's also working on his what is it? Arubian Prince that needs $50 in order to get the lawyer so that you can get $1 million.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know about you.
But what's your thoughts on that? If the game is started and it is out of hand, can you suspend the game in that situation where you've only got one ref? I mean,
you need to try and finish that assignment.
Yeah.
Yep. You've started that game. It's too much
just
of a
because
problem.
You took it as a solo doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Okay. I mean,
like you can't suspend a game when you have all the officials there because it gets out of hand.
Because it gets out of hand.
No, you got it. You got to try and you got to finish your assignment if you're.
But I will say I've probably done a couple games I shouldn't have done solo over the course of the years. I've done a couple JV games maybe, or Bantam higher level Bantam games, not AAA, but decent Bantam games. I think for the most part, the players know you only have one ref there. I think the coaches know they have one ref there. A lot of times, I find that they're just a lot more respectful, and they're a little bit human at that point. To put it politely. They realize there's only one guy, and it could be they actually mature a little bit in that situation, and I think they're really good. I've had good experiences under the circumstances, and players get pucks for you. You don't have to go chase the icings. The goalie sends the puck down to you. The defensemen send pucks over. Whatever. I mean, they keep it moving. They get it. I give them a lot of credit in that situation. I personally, I haven't had a bad experience yet.
I haven't either.
I would tell you if I had a bad experience doing it, and I'd probably be telling you, don't ever do it again. But I haven't had that experience, so that's kind of where I am on this one.
No, I'm with you, Scott, and I haven't had any bad experiences, and I think they realize at that point it's either we're going to get through this with you, or we're just not going to play today. And I saw that already. So thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah, you're still young, Mike, but we know. Okay, very good.
All right, on to the two official.
Carl, live to blow another call. What he means by that is get out of there, okay, Carl? Don't get yourself in that spot where you're going to get blown up. Keep those feet moving, okay?
All right. Hey, look at that last comment that just came in.
The last one.
You don't have to put it up, but I agree with maybe we should ask what people think before we start diving into this 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah.
Because we're already at 24 minutes.
Okay, guys. So what system would you like to talk about? Well, let's put a question up here. Here's the question. And you're going to answer with a 2, 3, or 4. What is your favorite system to work? Is it the 2 official, the 3 official, or the 4 official system? What is your favorite system to work? Please put it in the comments, 2, 3, or 4.
And that's not a short finger. I'm actually holding it.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
You can show Joey.
2, 3,
you
or
can
4.
show Joey's up there because I am with him 150,000%.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It's 3-man because he's selfish, hates sharing penalty selections. I totally get that. I get it. I get it from a hockey standpoint. I get it from a referee standpoint. This means you're not having to change your standard to accommodate your partner. And when I say that, let me explain what I mean by that. If you have a partner that, is calling a lot of penalties and a lot of things that, they're penalties, but maybe they're gray area penalties, they're little ticky-tacky penalties, and it's a higher level game, now you're kind of obliged to do the same thing and stay on the same page with your partner. The standard has been set. That's why we always like to say, make sure your first penalty is a good penalty. If you're working a 3-man or a 4-man, even a 2-man, your first penalty,
any game,
your first penalty should be a good penalty. You want to explain what a good penalty is, Brad? You know, like
try to make it be an aggressive foul. If you have an aggressive foul at the beginning of the game, you're definitely going to want to catch those. You're going to want to catch those throughout the game. Restraining fouls are good, yes. Holding, tripping, hooking, those are all restraining fouls. Yeah, you can have a really good call in that game. The one penalty that people call, well, there's two that drives me nuts. Number one is a coincidental first call. I get that you have to call that where the player legit retaliates and you have that coincidental. I hate it because both teams go into the box and no one cares. There's no retribution for it. The two guys just sit in the box for, the minute and a half, or the 2 minutes. Now that we're seeing all these new penalty times, we'll reference all that.
Yep.
And it doesn't affect the team, so the coaches don't express it to the players the same way they would as being shorthanded.
Yeah, they weren't put down in that situation.
Correct. The next thing is, try not to get yourself on the interference train. Okay? There are a lot of things that happen in ice hockey. I finally caught my
first one of the whole year the other night. It was the first call.
Scott,
I had no other call I could make, and it was definitely a penalty. It's like, I got to go on the interference train. It's going to be the first one, but I try not to.
So, begrudgingly, I had to call one. And the guy totally picked the other guy. I mean, it was like in basketball where they run the moving pick, and the one guy goes behind the other one. It was perfectly executed. I couldn't believe it. Like, I haven't seen a pick that well in a long time. But the interference train, what I mean is, yes, interference is definitely a penalty. But normally, interference can be classified as roughing, tripping. Like, it can be underneath a more severe penalty rule.
Yeah.
So you want to stick with the more severe penalty. Like, if you have a guy that elbows a guy to the head or the neck area, okay, that's 2 and 10 for head contact. That's a more severe penalty. If you have a guy that elbows a guy in the chest or something like that, or they're on the ground and they elbow drop them, which I've seen it happen. It's very far and few in between. It's still an elbow, but you go with the elbowing penalty. If our officials would have used the more severe penalties throughout the years, we wouldn't have lost the standalone 5-minute major. I literally had a game 2 weeks ago, and I had a knee.
Yeah.
And 150,000%, it should have been a standalone 5. Well, I don't have that option anymore.
I saw the video of this.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a long conversation about this one, but I mean, it was the right call, but you got no choice. It's no longer a 5-minute major. He's got to go home.
All right, so we're on the tangent. So let's go back to this 3 official, 4 official system. The one downfall that a lot of people have, and a lot of people said 3 in our comments, by the way.
Yeah, but
I'm
going to take the opposite side on 3. I get where you guys are going with this. That you like that you're in control of the game, and it's going to be consistent because you're going to make all the calls.
Wait a minute.
But I think the 3-man, you're kind of set up for failure.
Control is an illusion.
And I'm going to say you're set up for failure because you're going to end up on the bench side of the arena at some point during the game, and you may end up there many times during the game, which you will. And there's, line changes going on, multiple line changes going on, and you can't get through. It makes it a little bit tougher. Now, that's when your linesmen have to really step up and make sure they get down to the goal line for you in that situation. But, these are some of the things. A lot of times, the teams that are playing with the 3-man system, they don't want you to see some of the stuff that's going on out there. That's why they work with the 3-man system. If they wanted every penalty called, they go with a 4-man system where they know everybody's seeing what's going on. Everybody's got a view. So it just
I don't know. I saw a pretty egregious hold at the game that I was watching last night, and nobody caught it on the ice.
Yeah. Well, you were watching the NHL, so
I might have been.
Different ball game. Yeah. I don't want to go off on a tangent, but
all right. So let's get back to this. So the big advantage of the three official system, which Joey selfishly pointed out, and I will agree with him. If me and Joe had back-to-back midget games or whatever, I would probably rather work with Joe and have him referee the one game and have me referee the other. Now, between the two of us, we could probably care less which one referees what level, or we couldn't care less. The three official system, what I like about it, and this is what a lot of people don't like, is yes, it's the one official is calling penalties. But take that a step further, each referee's job is very defined. So the referee has the oversee of the entire game. Correct me if I'm wrong, Scott.
Game
right?
management.
Right. Anything that goes on in that game, the referee can stop play. They can remove scorekeepers. They can remove, if you had to, a linesman. I mean, you're overseeing.
Control. You're in total control, basically, with the exception of, certain things on the ice.
Well, yeah, like if, the building's roof flies off, I think you got a problem. So get used to it. No, but I understand where Joey's coming from, that the standard is the same across all boards, all walks, then as the referees are calling and assessing penalties. The icing and offsides, though, those two are different because you still have two different individuals working those jobs. But like I said, it's more defined. The referee is calling penalties. They're skating up and down the ice. They can kind of go wherever they want. The linesmen then, they're in between the blue lines or just inside the zone. They're back and forth, back and forth. They're thinking to themselves the entire time, where am I going if the SHIT hits the fan and the referee blows his whistle? That's where am I going? And the referee's always thinking, where's the puck going? So, like you said, you hinted at it a little earlier. We'll get to the two-man. But what's the most important part of our game? It's not penalties. It's not offsides. It's not icing. What's the most important part of our game?
It's goals, baby. It's goals.
Goals. When it comes down to it,
that's what wins and loses. We put them up on the board. It's mistakes. It's whatever you want to call it, but it's goals.
Yep. So that three official system can be difficult for the official to get in position for the goals. That's where the linesmen are now very well defined. Yeah, they always stop at that blue line.
Yeah.
But if that referee who's supposed to be watching the goals is stupid or falls down or is caught behind play because they have two players that are slow.
Or gets taken out by a player. Let's just throw that one in there because it does happen.
It does. Things happen that, I watched the guys last night in the NHL. Guy stepped right on the stick as a linesman coming in to break up a scrum. Felt terrible for him. He broke that scrum up, though. He slammed into the boards and everybody stopped.
Yeah.
So,
have you seen that video about I don't think that guy ever worked again. It's on YouTube that decided he was going to be a bowling ball to break up a.
I know what video you're talking about.
Don't do it.
I know what you're talking about. Don't do it.
I don't think he ever worked another game after that.
So the three official system, selfishly, like Joe says, I'm a big proponent of the three official system, and it's just because of the standard. I don't have to share that weight. And not only that, I like to be the referee to where I am tasked with that responsibility, but also on top of it, I can go where pretty much I want on the ice. So I'm not stuck up against the boards. I'm not this or that. Now, the two official system. All right? Or let's go to the four first. What do you think, Scott? You tell me.
I don't care. Flavory Soup says, give me 4, give me death.
Yeah. Well, I think that's taking
Mike
it a little
Anderson
far.
says, as a spectator, I prefer the 4 or 2 for penalty coverage.
I understand
if you're watching
that.
the game, so maybe as a fan, you think that the coverage is better as a 4 or a 2. I worked so much 2-man over my career. I like the 2-man system. Do I like it if you're doing a U18 game? Again, we got 2 sets of eyes out there. I think you work a little differently because you can't really get on top of that line with U18. It's moving pretty fast.
Okay.
Big boys. So now you're giving up something. You're giving up that blue line coverage because you're not going to be able to stand on the line and get out of there. I mean, you're going to get killed. No way around it. I don't care how good a skater you are.
The two official system has one egregious flaw, and
what is that?
It works great for lower level hockey that's not moving very fast. Fast games that are moving bang bang plays, big physical guys like you said. Yeah, we're not going to be able to stand on that blue line because we're going to get killed. That's one thing. The other thing is when the play goes into the zone and your partner moves down to the goal line and you're the rear official, the official that is there, well, if the other players from that team that's playing defense suck out to the far blue line.
Yeah, they send a cherry picker and somebody's got to go back after him. I got you.
So now you're stuck in this conundrum of
I'm
at this blue line where I need to be because my partner's on the goal line, but yet this guy's out here, and then what happens is the puck gets launched from the corner trying to get to this far guy. You see it, all right, as the top referee, you go, oh crap, you bust off that line in order to get down to the other blue line, because we need to see that line, of course, too, but, like the Flash. Then here's what happens. A guy from the defense steps up, and he plays it right at the blue line, and you've already moved 20 feet off the line to get there. Your partner's only moved 10 or 12 feet up because of the pass to get to the blue line, and there's nobody there. We're going to do our best between the two of us, and, I've looked at my partner, and, you look at him, and then you look at each other, and you know that, yeah, we both think it's good, we're going to play on, and you wave it good. It's a very difficult call to make when that happens, because you are caught in this no man's land, not the part that you'll get killed in no man's land, but it's just difficult.
Let me throw something in on that. I kind of feel like if you're working at two-man, you should take the four-man thought process of what the referees are doing. And what I mean by that is they keep the players in front of them. And I think if you watch a lot of the good referees that work the three-man, they're really trying to keep everybody still in front of them. They skate the figure eights back and forth, and they make the turns.
Yep.
Now, they try to stay up close enough to play that they're not too close, because if you get too close, now you can't see everything. You're having to look in two different directions. So, just being close enough that you can still see all the players, and I think that's the thing. So for me, I would come off and come back and try to keep all those players in sight. And your gut works pretty well for you if you got a lot of experience on offsides. You can kind of tell sometimes if you got that offsides. Yeah, we're going to miss one if it's half on the line and half off. It's going to happen if you're not on that line. But that's what you're giving up, guys. If you can't get enough refs for 3 or 4-man, or you don't want to pay the price, I'm sure all you guys that work men's league have had that, where you get some good men's league teams. There's some guys that played some high-level hockey. It's always a 2-man. You never get a 3-man or 4-man for a men's league game. You're going to have that occasional bang-bang play, and they won't be happy, but you won't be ruining their career either, because their career has already got them in the men's league.
So, Scott, the one thing I'll point out again, we'll go back to it, and we can hammer it a million times, is that we're going to miss some every once in a while. But what's important? It's not the blue line. It's not the icing. It's not the penalties. Penalties for safety, though, okay? That's number 2 on the list, okay?
Yep.
Of things that are important.
It's the
4x6 and the 3x1.
Yep.
That's
and
it.
I will tell you,
with a 2-inch line.
I was sitting last night at dinner, and they had a TV on. I'm sitting there with one of my buddies that was a referee, and we're watching, and highlights were on. Didn't even know it was highlights. I just glanced. I'm like, oh, that was offside. Oh, they didn't make the call. Sure enough, they come with
challenge.
The challenge and everything. I'm like,
Yep.
Oh, that was way offside. Like, how did the linesman miss that? Like, they got 4 people out there. This is what they do for a living. They make 6 figures.
Those guys are moving.
They missed it, okay? It was really obvious from being on the TV. Like, no, that was offside. Sure enough, under review.
Way to be a restaurant chair
referee, baby.
Nice job. No,
like,
you know what? Those
armchair quarterback. Restaurant referee.
Those guys are moving at such an incredible rate of speed. The NHL did some things to whereas now they just have to have their skate, over the plane of the blue line. Because, let's be honest, okay? 85 feet and a guy moving at the speeds that these gentlemen are moving, and you have to stay out of the way.
They don't always have blade contact when they're moving because they are flying.
Right. To see a blade this high off the ice that a camera catches is just an unreal task. Like, you're setting up the officials for failure. I do like what they did with
that's
the
what the
plane.
NFL does. Like, you got to have the foot down. Like, the foot has to touch down in order for you to be inside of it. So USA
one
Hockey,
foot in the NFL, two in college.
Well, thanks for letting me know because I don't watch college. But anyway,
I don't watch either.
I don't watch either.
Which reminds me, you want to go to a Bears camp?
Yeah, no.
I'll bring you a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
I have not been to the new stadium. Every time I've been given tickets for that, I've given them away. I have not been there, honestly. I could care less.
You mean the alien ship that landed on Soldier Field?
Is that what it is? Yeah, the new stadium. Well, maybe it'll be new when they move to Arlington Heights.
I was going to say, when they go to Arlington Heights, maybe we go to a game.
Yeah.
We could just tailgate. Think about
Mark
that.
says he likes them all. Oh, by the way, he likes all four systems. So,
yeah.
Kudos to you,
So,
Mark.
anyways,
is that you, Mark? Is that your picture, or is that
that's
you?
Mark.
Okay.
I know that's Mark.
Okay, cool.
He's got it as his iPhone logo too.
3-man,
Mr. Hirsch.
2-man. John Dunn, Ahai says 4-man. Yeah, I know, John. You're a master of the 4-man. Teddy likes 3. Joe 4. I'm just going through. Carl likes 3.
No, you're good.
Did I miss?
Lots of 3 in there.
I think we got some more down here too.
Yeah, there's a couple more. One is 4 is too congested.
Yep.
I kind of agree with that too, but it's more fun. So, anyways, the two official system. Going back to it.
Joey needs to ref a game first so he can call a penalty.
So, hey Joe, thank you again for the beverage that you brought to me from the Skybox while I was at the game last night.
Yeah,
my kids.
We should mention that. Was that their first game? Like Brad took both the boys
No.
with his dad. So you had 3 generations at the game last night. How cool is that? I mean, that is very cool.
We had fun, and there was at one point a camera guy pops out because we were in like this first row that was kind of pops out, and the boys are right there. You got the identical twin thing, and I'm like, wave. Well, I didn't even get time to get my phone out, but they got to be on the Jumbotron, so it was cool. Fun, and that's how Joe knew I was there. He saw my kids on the Jumbotron, and he texted me, and then he saw where I was at, and he's like, I'll come over there for a minute. So it was a pleasure to see him, and good guy. And he's like, I'm trying to get games, and I'm like, I don't know how hard you're trying, to be honest with you. But
just want to.
I like giving him a hard time.
Sorry, but the Mite Split Ice is all filled. We got better referees taking those Mite Split Ice games. I got them all.
Scott took them all.
I got them all.
So Scott's watching him remotely from Toronto. He's got all the stuff.
I just sit at the bar, eat dinner, and I watch. And that was offside.
So the two official systems, Scott. The big advantage of it is both roles are very defined. But the problem is you're switching roles constantly throughout the system. So as you transition up and down the ice, you're going from I'm calling penalties to I got to watch the blue line to the icing to now I'm at the goal line, and you're transitioning what you're actually doing on the ice, because as you skate in the 4 official system, the referees move back and forth in tangent, and they just move back and forth. They don't stop at blue lines, to whereas in the 2 official system, as you're coming in, they come across the blue line, you have to physically stop, make a call, then continue along.
Yeah, he interrupted your train of thought there. That's why he's laughing, everybody. He got his shiny new level 1 crest a few days ago. So congratulations, Joey.
Yeah,
we got a $33 house league game for you coming your way.
Joey called me up, and I think his message was, "We got to talk about some of these questions on this test. Are they fucking serious?" That's when he left me, and then he hung up the phone. So we had a good talk. It's always good. Me and Joe are friends outside of this too, of course. And
I've had the pleasure of working a couple games with him over my career. He's a really good official, so I'm glad he's back.
Me too. So going back to this two official system thing, to whereas you're changing roles constantly, and then on top of it, you're then put in these situations to whereas you have to get to that goal line or that blue line no matter what. To whereas in the 3 or 4 official system, the linesman can choose to bump off the line. They can bump into the zone. They can wait for play to pass. The referee can do the same thing. They can let play get in front of them. They can get ahead of play. But in the 2 official system, you're basically forced to stay in front of play the entire time. Yeah. And I get it. It works very well, like I said, for lower level games. But it does have the big flaw is that pass to whereas we leave the blue line naked. We don't mean to. And then on top of it, your role is it's defined as you're doing this, this, and this. But in reality, you're switching roles the entire game. And it can be difficult, and it's a lot to do, and it's a lot to understand. And then on top of it, in a 2 official system, you're really relying on your partner a lot. I mean, you rely on your partners the entire game. But you rely on that other official to hopefully have the same rule knowledge and understanding of the game that you have. Or, again, like you said, with the 4 official, which we'll get into, to whereas you start to make compromises on your officiating in order to make the game balanced and even. So, on to the 4 official, which I know you like, Scott.
You can have a situation where, let's say you're a more experienced referee in a 2-man, and you've got I'm not gonna say what age, but you've got a referee that's a little bit newer. When I say a little bit newer, they've got some experience. Okay, they wouldn't be working that level if they didn't, but they just maybe not quite as rule savvy on some of this stuff and whatever. But you get into a situation where they basically don't put their hand up the entire game, and you're watching stuff and like that's a penalty. Got to make the call. So it gets a little weird that way, and it's like, well, your partner hasn't raised his hand the whole game, and it becomes obvious. Coaches recognize it; they'll say something to you sometimes. But then you get into, let's say, you get into an overtime situation. Now all of a sudden, your partner's starting to put his hand up. Like, where did that come from? And they put you into kind of an unusual position at that point, and you don't always know if you get a penalty shot called, and they don't know the criteria for a penalty shot.
Well, Scott, what are the 2 things that referees can control in a game? There's only 2. Come on, take a guess.
Puck and blowing the whistle.
Because things can happen. Well, blowing the whistle, I guess you could say 3.
Yeah.
There's 2 things that we can control in a hockey game. Ourselves, okay? We're always in control of that. And line changes.
Are we?
We try. But that's a great saying. During a hockey game, there's only 2 things we can control. Ourselves and line changes. So we can control our attitude, how we officiate, what we see by positioning, and our ability by keeping up with play. We can control those things, plus how we react to situations. And we can control line changes. Because you're looking at the bench, they've changed. Well, that's you can send them back to the bench. Yeah. You can get so you can control those things. Other than that, control is an illusion. Okay, anybody's ever seen the movie Days of Thunder? Control is an illusion. You egotistical maniac. You shouldn't be driving a car with 43 other egotistical maniacs. Okay, control is an illusion, but I get where people say control the game and this and that. We can only control 2 things.
We're observers. We observe
We're reporters.
The game. We are not the person behind the bench. The person behind the bench controls his players, or tries to control his players or her players.
We can't.
Did I get that right? Was I politically correct there?
No, you're good.
His players, her players, whatever.
We don't have much say in what goes on in the game. Yeah. The only situation that we have, and we'll cover this real quick because it's always on the level 3 test. If 2 players are up against the boards with the puck and it's stalled or barely moving, and you see a third player who's coming in and is going to cause harm or do something, can you shut play down in order to stop that contact or penalty from occurring? Yes. It is a situation in the rule book.
Yes.
You can. And I can tell you, in my 23 years of officiating,
How many times have you shut it down in that situation?
I would say probably 3. And I can tell you that the three times that it's happened was, one, it was a guy that was coming in and he was bigger than me and fast, and it was 2 guys that were like 5'8" that were tied up against the boards. I stopped that because he was coming from the far, like not the far blue line, but he was coming from the center line.
So you could see he was coming from a long
He was going to charge. He was going to charge somebody.
All
so
right,
that's number one.
Because it's not that easy to see from, when they're 8 feet away and they're going to get one stride and boom, But it is a penalty, guys. Also, that is a penalty.
You can stop playing. Hopefully, avoid it if you can.
Hopefully, you can avoid it.
So number 2, one player is down on their knees, and the other player's teammate is the word I'm looking for, is coming in to make a hit onto a player on their knees, also traveling from a far distance. The difficulty in this is we're not shutting it down for just shutting it down's namesake. You have to be able, as a referee, we all know when you're seeing a guy skating in behind another guy, you're like, oh, I hope he doesn't hit that guy from behind. Or the goaltender comes out and plays the puck in the corner and there's that one offenseman. He's busting down there. There's no defenseman between him and the goalie. God, I hope he doesn't hit that goalkeeper. But you can't shut play down for that. It's where you feel uncomfortable. And I'm going to tell you, your gut's probably going to tell you, this isn't going to end well. And the third time that I shut it down was both players had ended up on the ice and both of them were on their knees. And 2 players were coming from opposite sides from both teams. And they were both going to hit both of these guys that were down on the ice.
Was the puck underneath those 2 players?
Nope, it was next to him.
Okay. Because if that puck is underneath those players, you better shut the play down, guys, from a safety standpoint.
Yeah.
A guy goes down along the boards and the puck's underneath him, it's a stoppage.
Yeah, shut it down because there's nothing good
is going to happen, and that's where you're going to have somebody get hurt. So shut it down, guys.
So, Scott, get this. All right, so I had a high school varsity game over the weekend.
Wow,
and
congratulations.
I had a player with the puck. He picked it up in the corner, and he's coming down behind the net right along the boards,
Wait, he picked it up with his hand, or he picked it?
You know what? I got
a hand gesture like he picked it up.
No. He picked it up with his stick. Okay, so he's playing it.
Okay.
He goes skating down the boards behind the goal, and the defenseman comes in to hit him, falls down. Okay, about 6 or 8 feet away from him. As the guy's coming by, the guy's on his back. He takes his head and tries to stick his head in front of this guy's feet. I couldn't believe it. I'm like,
not the smartest.
I screamed at him. I'm like, what are you doing? And I didn't even have time to react. The guy was already by him, and I'm like, what if that guy steps on your throat?
Oh,
I'm like, what? I'm like, what are you doing? Now, on top of that, same different game
but
game.
Of course, everybody had a neck guard on, so they were totally safe. So
he did have a neck guard. He did have a neck guard on.
Everybody does. So. Everybody does. So he's totally safe.
But then on top of it, we had I had a game after it a little bit later, a couple hours. Puck goes off the backboards, right? Guy falls down to his knees as he's coming in with the opposing player. The guy's leaning into the guy, and he falls down after he takes a shot. It goes off the backboards. He's sliding on his knees as he gets up to the goalpost. He picks the puck up off the ice with his hand and throws it into the net. I hit the whistle. I immediately signal for him to go to the box. I'm like, box. Now, guy thinks I'm calling a goal and starts to celebrate.
Oh, no.
I couldn't believe it. Sorry, I forgot about this until now. And I was like, get in the box. Like I've seen guys pick the puck up off the ice before. It happens in the corner when they're down or something like that.
So tell everybody what the call was that you gave him.
Minor for picking the puck up off the ice.
Okay.
2-minute minor. You can't do that. You can't hand pass it on net either. And this wasn't even a hand pass. This was I'm playing second base, and the guy's trying to get to home, and he gunned it. It was so weird because he picked it up, right? And I saw him pick it up, and I'm like, what? And I'm trying to get to my whistle. And by the time I get to the whistle, he had thrown it in the net. And I had never seen that before, to where the guy threw it in the net. So all these people are celebrating, and then I signaled to clearly go to the box. I'm saying his number, and he starts celebrating. He's got one knee dragging along the ice. He's got the arm up. It was something. I got to give him credit. He was definitely dedicated to trying to make that goal stand. And I commend him, and I get it. It's a tough game, and you look for goals no matter what. You don't get style points, but
I had a men's league player the other night. He had one pop up, and he grabbed it with the glove and tossed it right in there. And he right away said, no goal. Yeah, we know it's no goal.
All right. So
and the face-off's outside now, not inside. It's outside. Get out there.
on to the 4 official system. The 4 official system I do like a lot. It's definitely the second system that I prefer. We're not going to cover the 2 and 1. Me and Scott talked about it.
No.
Not
it's
enough
not
referees
a USA
work
hockey
it.
system. Not a lot of guys work that. Exactly right.
So that's the reason we're not going to cover it before somebody brings it up.
Yep.
The 2 official system, both jobs are very, very defined. The referees are reffing, they're calling penalties, they're overseeing the game, and they're calling the goal lines. Again, what's important, Scott? It's not the blue lines and the offsides.
The goal, the 4x6, as you like to refer to it, but it's
the 4x6. The 4x6 with a 3x1 trying to go inside of it.
Right.
Okay, that's it, and a 2-inch goal line that separates between the two.
Right.
I like that definition. But anyways,
get there so you can watch it.
The 4 official system, it's very well defined. The linesmen are still doing their job just like they are in the 3 official system. Their positioning moves back and forth within the neutral zone quite a bit. I'm not putting linesmen down. There's a lot of great linesmen. You're all the best. You all know who you are. I commend you. 2 really, really good linesmen can make a really bad referee look really good.
Yep.
And two really,
I had
really
a couple
bad
of them make
linesmen.
me look good the other night.
And 2 really, really bad linesmen can make a really good referee look really bad. Yeah. So hats off to linesmen and what you do, and I do it too when I'm out there. I do the best I can. I've been a linesman many times, but I'm just more comfortable in the referee spot over these years. So anyway, the linesmen do their job, and the referees move back and forth in tangent throughout the play. That is the biggest advantage the system has. I forget who pointed it out. I think it was Anderson. That from the standpoint of spectators, you're getting much more coverage with the 4 referees than you are in the 3 referees. Now, USA has a great slide and a video, and it shows during play like where the 2 are supposed to be looking. Okay, and it's great. The video is fine. All that's fine. I get how it's being done. The one thing that I see with the 4 official system is both guys sometimes get sucked in onto the puck. Mm-hmm. And that's great. Like, I get the puck is, again, what's important? Go ahead, Scott.
The goal line.
The goal line. So they get sucked in on the puck, and what should be happening is you should be working with your partner in tangents, and you need to watch as the puck is coming onto your partner's offensive side of the ice. They're going to focus more on the puck and the play around there, and you're going to focus on everybody else.
Right. Especially, guys, at the higher level games and at the more physical games, your partner, even if it's a 2-man, and I'm going back to the 2-man, somebody's got to watch that slot. If your partner's watching play and he's got puck in the corner or puck somewhere else, and you've got a tough game going on, you have got to be watching that slot. I mean, you should be doing it automatically, but you really need to be doing it in a physical, tough game.
Well, I think Scott,
that's your job
back
at that point.
Scott, it goes back to if we're having issues with it at the 4 official system that I see, and I'm not saying it's all the time. So let's not say that it's all the time. Right. And it can possibly be a couple times throughout the game that it happens, but we just need as officials to make sure that when we're not the official by the play, we're opening our view and we're watching everybody. There's 2 guys with the puck, but there's still another 10 players on the ice. Right. And yes, there's 10 players. There's 2 goalies before anybody tries to correct me. So there's 12 players on the ice.
I have a question because I know at one point,
I hope I have an answer.
This is before my time, actually, because when they started doing the 4-man long before I was reffing. But I think USA Hockey, if I'm not mistaken, had the guys track like the penalty calls. Who was making the call when they first started working with the 4-man?
I can cover this.
Cool. What percentage of the calls came from the low man versus the high referee? I'm just kind of curious as to that.
I don't know what the numbers are, to be honest with you. I can tell you this, though. USA Hockey, the pilot program for the 4 official system was in Illinois. It was an Illinois program. We're the ones that put the work in for it. We then submitted the paperwork and our recommendation to USA Hockey. When we worked that, I believe there were 40 guys involved. I can't remember. We had to go to a special seminar. And it was great because, boy, I can't remember who was. I want to say Andy McElm was there. And it was so long ago. I've met so many people. Sorry to whoever did that seminar. I really appreciate it, and I learned a lot. But they told us how the NHL had first tried the 4 official system. And what they said, they tried dividing the ice in half, long ways. So, center line down, just like we would for face-offs. Referee 1 would watch this side, referee 2 would watch this side. Didn't work so well. Then they tried this and that. Well, they found that as play transitions down the ice, so let's say, Scott, you're deep in the zone. I'm the guy in the neutral zone. So at that point in the game, you're watching the players that have the puck or are around the puck. Me as the top official opens my field of view, and I'm watching everybody else. As the players advance down the ice, and I cross over the center line, then they cross the center line, my focus, because I'm closer, shifts over to the guys with the puck, and your focus shifts outwards and watches everybody else. There's a little bit of crossover in there, and that's the overlapping part when you look at the USA Hockey stuff, to where we're both going to see it. And it says, the one thing I don't like is it says the referee's responsibilities, okay? No matter what's going on in that game, 2 official, 4 official, it's the referee's responsibility. I don't care if it's on my half of the ice, your half of the ice. If you witness a penalty, you need to make sure that penalty is assessed. Okay? And yes, you might run into some people that don't like that, and I get that, but you got to do what's best for the game. So try not.
Let me just say this. There are times where you're going to be the high official, and your partner is in the corner, and there is a play very close to your partner. Sometimes it's so close that they cannot see it. And you're going to you could have a boarding, you can have a head contact, but if I am right here and right here, I've got play on top of me, I may not be able to see that. Your partner may have a better, clear shot to see what happened. Your partner should raise his hand and make that call.
And you know what? You can always talk about it afterwards.
Absolutely.
If you're the low guy and you're like, oh man, like they got duped on that one. You can go talk to them later.
Most guys that have been around, they want you to get the call right. Let's get the call right. And they're not going to be, don't call over the top of me or something like that. I don't ever recall a guy doing that.
It's changed.
But
it used to be that way, but the one thing is, I'm with you. If you got a vision on it, and you put your arm up and call it, well, okay, we'll talk about it afterwards. If I flat out saw it, I'll be like, well, what'd you see? And then they'll tell me, and then I'll be like, well, did you know that this and this and this happened? And they're like, oh, I didn't see that. That's why I didn't call it. And you can take it as a learning experience between each other, too. So it's a great opportunity. Plus, I'm going to tell you this. When you work with guys that you've worked with for, me, sometimes in the case of 20 years, guys that I've worked with, we talk constantly, every stoppage. Like in a 4 official system, when you have an icing, you skate by the other referee. You can say something real quick to each other as you skate by. And if you listen to the guys in the NHL when they're mic'd up, there's a stoppage, they're having a TV timeout. The 2 referees are, hey, did you see that one over there? Like, yeah, he stuck his leg out and Mike got him with the hand right afterwards, so I didn't call it, And they're sitting there and they're telling each other what they saw and why they saw it and why they made a call or didn't make a call. And it's
guys,
crucial.
again, just like the NHL, you have to be careful because remember, we got live mics and live cameras in these places everywhere where we're working. So, if you need to have a private conversation, go over there and talk to one another, but make sure you're making it private and that you're not on a live mic and a camera.
And the other thing is when you talk to your partner, go like this.
This is how I talk to Brad all the time.
There are people that work for the FBI that are professional lip breeders.
Right.
Okay? And not only that, sometimes just saying the word yes, if somebody's already thinking about something, they can think that you're talking about that, but your partner's asking you, hey, you want to go grab a beer after this? Yes. Oh, but the parent that's really mad just saw you go yes, and the puck went in the goal and you missed it. Yes, I saw it go in.
Yeah.
So you're setting yourself up for failure if not. But if you could talk, just perfectly like
if you've
this.
got something that's taking place that you need to have a discussion, be smart about the way you do it. That's all.
Yep.
That's our recommendation. It is.
But overwhelmingly, my decision is the 3 official system. I know you like the 2 official system, Scott. The 4 official.
I like all the systems.
Unfortunately,
I would like to work more of some of the other systems. I have just my career, the area I work north.
Yeah, it's where you're at,
I work city. We have a lot of 2-man. Even for varsity high school, we have a lot of 2-man games. JV, all 2-man. If you're working Catholic League, you get some 3-man JV games, I believe, or maybe you don't get those until state tournament. I'm not sure.
State.
But we do have some 3-man for state. AAA is going to get you a lot of 3-man. 4-man, depending on where you are. And now it's just the reality of things with the referee shortage. We don't have 4-mans on the weekend for the most part.
We're working whatever official system we can get out there.
Whatever we can cover, basically.
Hang on, we haven't finished the 4 official.
Oh, sorry.
Because we're going to go on. I know where we're going to go. It's going to go on a tangent, so hang on.
No,
the 4
I
official
wasn't.
system. The 4 official system. The part that I do agree with, and most people do, is the 2 referees are out there. They're able to witness more penalties. They have to witness them, somewhat together and somewhat separately, and it becomes a dance because you're managing the game at those levels where they've requested 4 officials. You're not working a Mite split house game with 4 guys. So there's not much management to those games. So when you get in the upper levels, you start managing the game and you start to play this dance with your partner to where you guys are finding a very good happy medium on your restraining fouls. Aggressive fouls are fouls. But the restraining fouls are where you and your partner will generally differ and have some issues. So you start to do this dance, and like I said, talking to your partner throughout the game, you might be somebody you've never worked with, and they might not know what hooking is. Hopefully not. But maybe by the end of the game they will. Or maybe they see things one way and you see it the other, and by the end of the game you're both sympathetic to where, I get where they're coming from. It's a penalty. They're right. It's officiating our sport it's not black and white. It's a very interesting dance throughout the game. Every game has its own pulse. One game could be just perfectly fine, and 2 seconds later, you got 40 guys on the ice fighting, and the goaltenders are trying to fight, and they can't because they have all this equipment on. Yeah. So it's a great dance. I love the ride of every game. I wouldn't rather do any other part-time job. It's great. I'm sorry.
So the one thing I did want to say with these systems, and the 2-man system, crossing over at the net, like you don't get to cross over. Plays in your area, you just got to work the corner. You got to deal with it. You got to work the golden triangle.
I got where you're going.
3-man, they don't recommend that you cross over, but in a lot of times it's a really good idea to cross over so that you can get back over to the side that doesn't have the boards with the line changes. If you can.
Hey, Scott, hold on 1 second. Yeah. If you're an official and no one has told you to ever go behind the net in order to change sides, or you're not quite sure if you should go behind the net or cross over during a game, ask someone. don't just do it, because make sure you know your skill level before you do it, and it's not recommended. That's still no man's land. 150,000 times USA Hockey wise. The guys that do different levels of hockey, it starts to become a necessity, because the guys line change and you can't physically skate up and down on the bench side. It becomes too congested. 10 guys getting off the ice, you just can't get through it, and you're going to miss something. So you learn very quickly to get to the other side. But again, if you don't know, and
don't know how to do it and when to do it, be careful.
I wouldn't do it. That's first. If you're not sure, and ask somebody. Somebody out there, there's got to be somebody that you know that referees, that is a referee that does games that you've seen him probably do it, and you're like, I can do it too. Ask them. And hopefully they give you their honest opinion, because being behind the net and a clapper coming at you that goes over the crossbar, not a good place to be.
But the point I was going to make is because I think so many, and I'm going to say us, meaning like myself, work so many two-man games that when we do work a four-man, there are times where we probably should have crossed over, and we don't. We stay in there.
Yeah, switch.
Because we are so used to working the two-man. And I wish that is something that we could cover better and teach, at least at the higher levels. I know we don't have on ice like 3 and 4 seminars anymore and things of that nature. We do have the ADP. But I think that is something that really needs to be kind of taught from a safety standpoint for guys to get out. Because as dangerous as it is for you to cross over, sometimes it's as dangerous or more dangerous if you don't cross over.
No,
and
Scott,
I'm going to leave
it
it at
that. With you.
I honestly
with you,
believe I got my leg broken a few years back. Okay, back in 2019.
2019.
I think that if I had gotten out of there and maybe crossed over, I wouldn't have had that happen, because I had a player reverse on me in his own zone and push the puck through me and then just tear the leg off. But I think if I
it hurts.
Yeah. Oh, hurt.
I know.
8 months, baby, of pain. Okay. But you know, the point being, I think that is something that needs to be covered at some point and looked at. And I know it's frowned upon with USA Hockey, you know, from a safety standpoint. And I get that. If you're a newer official, you're 1, you're 2, you haven't been doing this a long time. Even if you've been doing it a long time, if you don't know how to do it and when to do it, you can get yourself in a lot of trouble. But there are times where you really need to make that change. You need to cross over.
There's also times, too, even if you're an official that does it a lot and knows how to do it, things happen to where you start to go behind that net the guy shoots it from this weird angle and another guy deflects it, and you're like, holy.
Yeah.
So, hey, Scott, I think
Pick one your poison.
the one thing I can point out from what you said there about the injury stuff, too, is it was interesting going to the Hawks game last night. They have this intro now, and it's Taze talking, and he said it was like along the lines of, you never realize how much it is, or something like that, or how great it is to be on the ice until you lose it.
Yeah.
So think about it that way. You don't want to get hurt and not be able to get onto the ice again.
We need every able body to work these games right now. So, you know, so stay smart, stay safe out there. Let's just see here.
Yeah,
Carl had another question. I'm going to pop this one up. We'll take a couple. I know we're a couple minutes over here, but you know what the heck. There are about 40 roughing calls I could make in a high school varsity game I did last weekend, according to this new standard. So how am I supposed to follow the standard without having a 3-hour game? I'm going to let you answer that, Brad, but I will just say this. You know, games have gotten longer, guys. You know, there is something. So now that actually takes me on to a point, because
I wanted to call you the other day.
I'm not going to get on the tangent here, but you know, I kind of wish, now that we do have a lot of these games that have gone to overtime, that they have scheduled overtime. They're going to play 5 minutes, 3-on-3, and then they're going to have a shootout.
Or the one league 4-on-4 for 4.
I wish they would standardize. I wish USA Hockey would standardize what the overtime is. That it's not different for every league, every level. You know, some have it, some don't. I just wish they'd have a standard for it. Okay. No soapbox. I just think, it should be
hear you.
consistent. That's all I'm saying. And, as these games have gone longer, I could go somewhere else with this too. I'll stay off that because that's a whole nother show topic
Well,
that
here,
we'll have to address.
I'll just
I'm
make
sure
a
you
point.
all know what I'm talking about.
And
Length of these games, but yeah. Okay.
I'll make a point on this with the 40 roughing calls and all that, and
Yep.
the 3 hours. Okay,
I'll put that
20,
back up.
20 let's say I started armbanding when I was, 20 years ago. Let's say just call it 20 years, okay, rough estimate. I remember having a 5.5 hour game once, and it was a state game. But it went into overtime, and we couldn't get a winner. It was like period 7 or something, 6. They finally did it. We had one a couple years ago that was like that. Also, with this 3 hour game thing, you could have a 3 hour game with the old rules.
That's right.
It doesn't matter, the roughing calls and all that. If you start setting the standard, they will conform. If they don't conform, you're going to be there that long time, that first game, but they're going to know the next time you're there. You're also setting up your partners that are not your partners, so I'll call them the ghost partners, the guys that are coming in after, or the women that are coming in after you, for that same team playing a different opponent. So if you set the standard, it should correct itself throughout the game. I know that you're going to have some games that run longer. I get all that. Yeah. But if all the officials through USA Hockey called the game the way that it's supposed to be called, or the way that USA Hockey would like to be enforced, which, mind you, it's not some guy sitting in an office going, hey, today we're going to play with this rule. No, it's a voted upon rule, okay? And as a game includes referees, players, coaches, and parents. As a game, we have decided on this set of rules. Our job is to protect those rules as the referee. And as the referee, if we have an issue with it and we can't stand there and uphold those rules, there's other marble games out there. There are other different sanctions of hockey that are insured or whatever, different ways, and they play with different rule books. I'm sure they'd be more than happy to have you bring your bag of marbles and play in their game. But in USA Hockey and in whatever league you're working, they have a specific set of rules, and those are the rules that need to be upheld by the officials. We are the guardians of the game. So let's close on that. I thought that was pretty good. I'm sorry.
Guardians of the game. I like it. All right, so we do this every Wednesday, everybody. This is the
good.
Ref Room from Chicago and from some south suburb in God's country way out there where Brad is
Plainfield. It's not. It's a nice place. It's a nice area.
Yeah, where he can still get peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
There you go.
Okay? Yeah.
All right.
All right. If you'd like to support our channel, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/refroom. We'd appreciate it. We could use some caffeine sometimes, getting through some of these conversations late night with Brad, till like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
It was
my
not
phone
that
doesn't
late.
even start ringing till 1 o'clock. I tell you this
It was
all the
not
time,
that
guys,
late.
but it is the truth.
It was not that
You
late.
get that text, you up?
Well, that's
1 o'clock in the morning.
You know what? I'm not going to even send you the courtesy text anymore because the one day you were posting the thumbnail. The thumbnail went up, and I'm like, this guy's up. Like,
Yep.
So,
all right, guys. Well, have a great week. Take some games. Get ready for the CCM weekend. It's coming. It's going to be a busy one. Stay safe and hydrate. That'll be my best advice that I give you guys for CCM weekend. Hydrate before, hydrate during, and hydrate after. Okay? Have a great week.
H2O.
Yes. I didn't say with what. I mean, but you need to hydrate, seriously. You don't want to cramp up. Start hydrating. All right, guys. Have a great week. We'll see you next Wednesday right here on the Ref Room. I'm Scott Smokin Silz along with Brad Baumruck.